Welcome to another Let's Play. We are returning to the realm of Sega Master System, which means it's going to look like complete shit. Because there's no composite video out on this console. It's the cheap one, it's the Master System 2, the budget version. So this is captured on RF, which means it looks like this. But hey ho, you guys are not here presumably for video quality. You're hopefully here for the commentary. As we decided to do this today, someone across the street from me is doing lots of very loud DIY. So you may get some drilling and hammering and yelling noises in the background. The guy, I don't know, I mean, he seems to be a local, but he speaks in indeterminate vowel sounds rather than like any kind of language that I understand. It's just, you know, there's no consonants in the things he yells. So anyway, this is Land of Illusion.
Yeah, it's very inconsiderate of them to interrupt our Let's Play with all that noise.
Yeah, I know. So, oh, what are you doing? Oh, we're putting up a satellite dish. I mean, shut up. Like, this is more important. We're discussing a video game from the early 90s.
It's Sunday. We're trying to play Land of Illusion.
Yeah. So you're not super familiar with this one, are you, Chris? This is kind of a not a blind Let's Play, but a somewhat new experience for you.
Yeah. No, I've played. I've played Castle Illusion and World of Illusion. Castle, I'm definitely most familiar with from the Illusion series.
Yeah.
As it was a game that came with my Mega Drive when I got one many years ago when they first came out. And I had a friend who had World of Illusion, so I definitely had some experience with that through borrowing that off him a couple of times.
Mickey looks really fucking off-model in these cutscenes. I don't know why. But I really like this game. I got this as a present, actually, when I was... I think I just finished uni and I was living with my friends, as young men often do. And I got a Master System while I was a student, and while we were living together, it was my birthday, and one of my housemates bought this game for me. And I really like it, actually.
Yeah, I never really owned a Master System, either as a kid or as a young adult, so I'm sure if I did have one, I would have bought this game, because I did like the Illusion games.
I think if anybody listening at home is curious about the chronology of these games, so you'd be forgiven for thinking this was the first one, because it's 8-bit. But this is actually a sequel to the 8-bit version of Castle of Illusion, which I have not played, but I know this was built using the same engine and actually recycle some of the assets as well. Because, waste not, want not.
Yeah, I can see that in some of the animations already, like the way you jump is exactly the same animation, and the climb up and down.
So what I'm going to try and do is not get hit for as long as I can on this Let's Play. So if you want to take bets onto how long it'll take before I take damage, it's not it's not a tremendously difficult game, I would say. Like, it is a children's video game, but it's a children's video game from the early 90s. Like, I'd say it's a little easier than Sonic, which we played for the channel, which is, in the same console, but it's not a hugely easy game. So
have those snakes appeared in any other Disney game? Because both the art design and the style of the way they move looks really familiar to me. Like I've seen them in Aladdin or something.
Maybe, or Quackshot. Maybe like there's a lot of jet setting in that game.
Yeah, I just wondered
India
whether they might have repurposed
Egypt
some
and
assets
other places. I feel like they might be from Quackshot. I don't know. It's difficult to tell.
They seem very recognisable to me from something else.
Yeah, I've sort of reminded people at home, I'm not a video game expert. There really is no reason to subscribe to this channel. Like, I have no insights on these games. I'm not particularly good at them. You're basically just listening to two 30-something dudes talk about video games
that they don't even know much about.
It's just like, oh man, this is my favourite show. It's like, why is it? Because these guys are just as clueless as I am. Alright. So you can see the mechanic is very simple, how the throwing works in this game. So you pick an object up, launch it at an enemy. Or you can use it as a platform, which we're about to do with this barrel. Annoying that the enemy respawns. I don't feel like it should, but it does. We also missed a secret here. All it does is slightly speed up the level, so we don't need to show that. So we might as well show the whole level, because it's quite a short game, and, might as well milk the Let's Play for every possible episode. You guys can probably hear the chainsaw now. So what are they doing? There's a very simple thing there. It's not quite a puzzle, but it's letting you know how the game's going to work. So pick up an item, feed it to the giant snake. So, okay, yeah, so it's going to have those sorts of puzzles in it. There are some interesting puzzles in the game. None are outrageously taxing, from what I remember. There's a couple that, maybe might be slight brain teasers, but
and obviously it seems like you can still throw things at enemies, but you can't collect things to throw at enemies.
No.
Unlike you could in Castle of Illusion.
So the 8-bit version of Castle of Illusion, as far as I know, does the same thing as this, where you don't stack up, as you say, you don't collect like apples or gems or whatever. It's like you throw whatever you find, which again is a fundamental difference in the game mechanic between the 16-bit version and the 8-bit version. But that's one of the things that was cool about this generation of consoles, was that Master System, yes, it was older hardware, but they were still producing games for it, and especially if you were outside of the US. I mean, you didn't do very well over there, but in sort of Europe and particularly places like Brazil, they were still bringing out stuff for the Master System that was fundamentally different to the same game on Mega Drive. They didn't just, a lot of the time, they didn't just port them.
Yeah.
The straight ports were often shite, like Golden Axe. I mean,
Golden Axe.
let's address the elephant in the room. The Golden Axe port.
The less said about that port, the better.
Yeah. Well, you say that now, but so Chris, if you don't know, has sort of, benefactor may be a strong word, but he sort of bankrolled this show because he's the guy who's been supplying, some of the retro games. We've got a stack of them to record, which were actually bought on his dime. So it was my birthday recently. And so he said to me quite plainly yesterday when we were looking at different versions of Golden Axe, and he said, I will find and buy the Master System version for the sole reason of you let's playing it. So yeah, that's going to be a very disappointing, miserable experience on the channel.
And I'll be happy to provide it.
Yeah.
Once I can find it.
Yeah, I mean, there's an element of sadism, I think. Sadomasochism in our friendship. Alright, I don't particularly want to drown this early in the game. There we go. And I still haven't taken damage, I'm happy with that. If I can get to the first boss without taking damage, I'll be really chuffed. Oh, fuck. Yeah, that was nearly it. That was nearly the end of my... my no damage run. Come on. I don't think I can do the whole game with no deaths either, because as it gets along, it is quite difficult later. There's quite a difficulty spike in this game, as again, quite common back then.
Yeah, and particularly Master System with the controller is already quite awkward.
Yeah, because you don't really have a D-pad. You've got like this little square, It's not the worst, but it's certain moves that are harder to pull off in this game than they would be if you just had a standard D-pad, I feel.
Yeah. I like the world map sort of screen, even though it's obviously you're still just travelling from one level to the next. I presume you can kind of go back and forth.
Yeah, there is backtracking in the game because you get power-ups. So it's not quite proper backtracking like you'd have in like Metroid, but it's kind of cool to go back to an earlier level. And there's a rope, for example, that lets you climb up certain walls, so you can go back to earlier levels and get things you couldn't reach before and that kind of shit. So
cool.
Yeah, things like that I think make the game more fun. They make the world feel a bit more fleshed out. So obviously Castle of Illusion is it's the one big hub world which is a castle, whereas this feels a little bit more like a place that might exist,
Yeah, because obviously going forward, then once they released Quackshot, they were kind of trying to really go into that whole back and forth adventure between different stages.
I would argue that there's too much of that in Quackshot. Like, I like Quackshot. In fact, hell, I love Quackshot, but there's just a little bit too much of that. In that game.
Yeah, I could see that criticism.
But in terms of just game feel, I fucking love Quackshot. Okay, quite easy to get hit here. These are like tiny peach dragons, if you look at the design of them, which is really cool. I love that. That rather than design a completely unique enemy, they just took an existing like Disney thing and just made it smaller. It's all the details like that make these games feel like Disney to me. So like in World of Illusion, right at the beginning, and spoilers, we are going to do World of Illusion at some point because it's 2-player and everything. So that's going to be a lot of fun. In the foreground of the first level, there is a caterpillar that's just a caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland.
Okay.
So just stuff like that makes these worlds feel like uniquely Disney. Back when Disney was something that that had kind of a positive connotation to it. I mean, I'm sure they were just as evil, but people didn't know about it.
People knew less about the stuff they were hiding in their movies. Yeah. No, I mean, it was certainly, You could argue it was a lot more child friendly.
Yes, I mean this was
Back in
the 80s and 90s. I mean, it was a golden age for Disney, absolutely.
Yeah, particularly their video games as well.
Yeah,
they were making some of the best licensed video games.
Yeah, Aladdin
for sure. It's crazy to think that really, because a lot of licensed games now are absolute fucking dog shit.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what the last great licensed game I played was. I'm trying to think of something more recent than, like, say, GoldenEye. But, like, I mean, I heard the Godfather games were decent. Ah, bollocks! Alright, I'm pretty sure this is the room before the boss as well. I said I'd like to get to the first boss without taking damage.
That was unlucky as well.
Yeah, just one of those things. That's twice now. Fuck it. I'm just going to pay less attention at this point.
No, you don't need to try and not get hit anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Wish we could do the boss without getting hit now. It's just Peach Dragon, do you know what I mean? Just a different colour.
Yeah, like you
Fuck
say,
you.
grounds it in the realm of Disney quite a bit. So
This is kind of cool. Hey, it's Horace Whomstcollar. What a worthless character that nobody cares about. You ever meet somebody and say, "Oh, who's your favourite Disney character?" and they say, "Fucking Horace Whomstcollar." Has that ever happened? Not in a million fucking years.
yeah, it's fairly unrecognisable to me, I think.
Yeah, I had to actually ask. I remember I was streaming this game on an emulator, so it was actually probably looked a lot nicer for the audience, but it's less fun to do it on an emulator. And I was like, "Does anyone know who this guy is?" And somebody in the chat was like, "Oh, it's Horace Whomstcollar." I was like, "Fucking who?" Isn't that one of like Salad Fingers' little finger friends that he has?
Yes.
Horace Whomstcollar.
I imagine he didn't get too many of his own movies.
No. Yeah, he's like shit goofy, basically.
Shit, goofy. He does look a little bit like Goofy.
So that's a little. Basically, now when we do backtracking, we can enter the menu and go back to a place we've already been, which is kind of cool. We'll wrap this episode up in a bit because we've done the first level now, so the first cast on the first boss and everything. But let us know in the comments if you want to see more of this, if you want us to continue with Land of Illusion. This is a game I actually really like, and I will probably have more to say about it when I'm not cross with my neighbours for doing DIY in their own home. Which, they are more than entitled to do.
I do like.
Sorry, you were going to say?
I was just going to say, I do like the colours in it, even though there's obviously less background effects than you'd get in sort of Mega Drive versions of these type of games.
Yeah.
There's a brightness to the colours on our system that's quite nice.
Just realised there's no bloody current down here now that the level's changed. The reason I'm here is for that. There we go. And then we've got to go back to this level in a bit anyway, because I've gone the wrong way to actually open the next level, but going this way gives us an extra bit of health, which we're going to need, to be honest.
Yeah.
There we go. It's another bit of damage taken. Yeah, it's only premium quality Let's Plays on this channel, folks.
Yeah.
You're getting the high
sort of
quality shit.
big open swimming areas as well.
Yeah, that's kinda cool.
It wasn't like that much swimming that I recalled in Class of Illusion.
Probably because the swimming is not very good.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you next time.